This is literally just a matter of him not knowing what would have happened going against an open domain expansion. Heck, he didn't even know it was open. It's not his fault to be honest, but he does lose here. However, I can sense the anger already, so let me just explain it one more time.
Bro, like, oh my gosh, bro, he does not lose, bro. Oh my gosh. Yo, what's good, YouTube? Welcome back to another video. You guys have been liking the JJK reactions. JJK versus that Genshin character. I can't pronounce her name. And you guys did tell me some different stuff about it. I get how strong Sukuna is, but I just physically cannot picture him beating a Genshin character that has OP hacks when he could barely beat Gojo. Barely, like he could barely beat him. But that's just my take on it. But yeah, this is Heian Sukuna runs the Gauntlet. Now there's a few concerns about this. I will say, I will give my opinion on everything that is said in this video. Well, I'm gonna try to. Mind you, this is not being ignorant or anything, because the enemy's over with. This is just my take on things, right? But yeah, without further ado, make sure you guys like, comment, subscribe, share the video with your friends. Also, you guys will be getting more Undertale videos as well. For the person that did want me to react to Glitch Time Trio, we do have a Discord server with suggestions. If you want to DM me in the if you want my Discord server link, I'll put a link in the description. I always do. I don't know if it's expired or not, but I always put a link in the description. I'll put a fresh one in the description just in case, so you can join the Discord and put suggestions, so you can send me the link, or you can just DM me the link. It's whatever works for you. But yeah, without further ado, let's get into the video.
Entire year in real time, Ryoma and Sukuna ran through the defenses and destroyed the efforts of our beloved cast one by one. Chapter after chapter, character after character, and defeat after defeat. It felt like an endless loop of how do we even finish this monster off? Well, what if we replace said monster with another version of himself? In today's video, we'll be talking about exactly that. What's up guys, Gambly here, and you read the title and you saw the thumbnail.
W profile pic, I do like
Heian era Sukuna in Shinjuku Showdown. I promised a video on the boy in my How Strong is Sukuna video. Make sure to check that out after this one. I'd really appreciate it. Anyways, can Heian era Sukuna change the outcome of the battle? Let's find out right now. Before we get into it, make sure to like and subscribe.
Mind you, I will say, like I said at the beginning of the video, I will give my opinions and stuff on take, because I am really well versed in JJK. I'm well versed.
We're making almost weekly JJK bangers over here, so you don't want to miss out.
Like this.
Bro.
Introducing the Old Spice NFL collection. Try again.
Okay.
At the end of Shinjuku Showdown in the original story, Urame salty as heck tells Hikari that they only won because Sukuna was an incarnate sorcerer. All they really had to do was separate him from the vessel. We're gonna test that theory because obviously a Heian era Sukuna isn't in anyone's body. That guy's a full human. I made a Gojo version of this like 3 months ago I think, so go check that out if you want to, but there I had to lay out some ground rules to make the scenario make a little more sense. Heian era Sukuna in Shinjuku is a fun but also a complex situation, so let's get into some changes or confirmations we may have to make in order for that scenario to be perfect. First off, Heian era Sukuna has no knowledge on anyone's curse technique. In the original
I'm liking this so far.
Story, we see him use Megami's memory, but also his experiences in Yuji's body to extract certain information about the characters he's going against. Like for example, him knowing about Yuta and his copy technique, but also him knowing a good way to get around Gojo's unlimited void because...
Yeah. And a lot of people thought, like, just this statement alone, a lot of people thought, like, he could, like, beat Sukuna so easily, even if he didn't know the Emperor. Now, let me check that. He could beat Gojo so easily. I don't know why I got my words stumbled upon, but a lot of people thought Sukuna can beat Gojo so easily without him, even if he didn't know about Gojo's technique. And I gotta say to those people, no, he couldn't. I'm sorry, he just couldn't.
He was in Yuji's body when he used it. There are also smaller examples, of course, like Sukuna realizing Ino had Nanami's cursed tool, but overall, you get the point, no free information. But since this is Heian era Sukuna, the gang has limited information as well. Gojo has some vague lore about Sukuna, but Angel is genuinely their biggest asset.
Nobody would really know anything about how strong Heian era Sukuna is.
Angel literally went against that boy, and she knows about his curse technique, the power of both Sukuna's cursed tools, and possibly even more. That being said, we get into the second confirmation. The order of characters will still stay the same. In the Gojo video, characters like Hikari and Yuta jumped into the fight because Urami and Kenjaku aren't on Gojo's side, but obviously this time we do have those two goons because it's Sukuna we're dealing with. So everything is the exact same. Basically all we're doing is replacing that incarnated Sukuna with the Heian era Sukuna. The planning for Sukuna may have been different if they based it on a Heian era Sukuna, but at the end of the day, all we have to do is switch the mindset from separate Sukuna to kill Sukuna. If you really think about it, that was basically the plan the entire time. It's just that some techniques were made for extraction, but also they can plainly be used for damage, or certain characters have alternatives. This will make way more sense later in the video, so just stay locked in and you'll understand. There's another problem, and it's kind of funny because it's an issue with the continuity. If the incarnated Sukuna wasn't in the modern era, Yuji wouldn't be as strong as he is. Heck, dude wouldn't even be born. With that said, just imagine everything in the story went the exact same way, but delete everyone's active memories of the incarnated Sukuna so that they don't have the advantage on him. For example, Kusakabe, Yuji, and some others knew about the open domain expansion, Sukuna surviving with no heart, Fuga, and other things because he existed in the modern era. Literally just take out those memories from them and then assume the entire timescape was spent training for Heian era Sukuna based on the information we have. I know this is going to be a fun video to make, so let's stop yapping immediately.
Oh yeah, I'm locked in.
Heian era Sukuna versus Shinjuku Showdown. We know that Sukuna won't be the one to start up the problem, so as that boy is chilling, sitting in Shinjuku, a sudden burst of cursed energy appears meters away. It's Gojo Satoru, the strongest of the modern era, charging up a full power Hollow Purple with the help
my glorious king
of Ichiji, Utsuhime, and Gakuganji. Holding absolutely nothing back, he misses no chance and no hand signs. Sukuna, having never felt such cursed energy before, gets excited. This is the first time during his boring human life someone with potential has challenged him after he claimed his position as the strongest. Alright, so
Team, it's been a grind, but I think I've aged you well.
I'm so tired of these ads, bro. Come on, let's get it.
In the room, let's address that huge animal. Heian era Sukuna most likely does not have domain amplification.
No.
That's a whole rabbit hole by itself that could probably be talked about in another video, but the reason I bring that up is because, well, he's going against Gojo freaking Satoru. I'm pretty sure he's like the only character Sukuna uses domain amplification on. Against literally everyone in Shinjuku, he just stands there and takes their techniques without even trying to use it. When LaRue caught him, domain amplification definitely would have released him.
Like, and the crazy thing about this is that people like said that Sukuna wasn't even trying against Gojo. And like just him pointing that out, it makes no sense. It makes no sense, because if he wasn't trying against Gojo, he would not, like, dude, he would not be at the damaged state as that he was at. You know what I'm saying? Like, this dude Sukuna was trying to get away from Gojo as much as possible, keep his distance or whatever. And like every close quarters combat, Gojo dominated him at every turn. It was like, I don't know. Sukuna fans are so like, I don't know. They're weird.
That's neat.
Some of them are cool. Some Sukuna fans are actually cool because they understand like some concepts in anime. They know how to debate. But some are just weird. They just don't know anything about debates. They just go off like what they see in pictures.
They're here or there. Anyways, as for the Hollow Purple,
and not even seeing pictures, they just go off by fanfics, bro.
I don't think domain amplification is really enough to mitigate the damage to this extent. This was Sukuna against Gojo's red while using domain amplification.
Dude, and that was just red, bro. That was just red, bro. Just red. And he used the domain amplification just to minimize the damage, and it did that to him. keep that in mind. Keep that in mind.
And this was Sukuna against a 220% hollow purple that he misread and used lowered output on. Yeah, no, I don't think Sukuna only used domain amplification here, especially when in the next chapter we see Sukuna surprised about domain amplification getting through Gojo's infinity. So I don't really want to jump through hoops or anything like that. So let's just start the fight off exactly the same, except this time Sukuna has 3 arms facing the attack. The reason it's only 3 is because his mouth may be able to hold Kamutoke, but Hiten is still in one of his hands. So the other 3 arms are used to try and cancel out the attack. Sukuna loses maybe less than he originally did, uses RCT, and they face each other. The strongest in history versus the strongest of today. Sukuna doesn't even give him the time of day. He takes Kamutoke out of his mouth and shoots the lightning at the boy immediately, but he's surprised to see that Gojo's very much completely unaffected by it. We see something similar with Sukuna's first fight with Gojo, but also his fight with Kashima. When Sukuna sends slashes at Gojo to finish him off, he sees the damage applied to the area around Gojo, but not Gojo himself. I mean, heck, the debris is floating in front of him. Luckily, Kamutoke causes even more destruction, so if he shoots it at Gojo, even more debris will be floating in front of him and he'll realize that there's something blocking his path to destroying him. Sukuna saw Kashimo be completely unaffected by Kamutoke, but never use it again against him because he's not dumb. Jogo, when he first went against Infinity, was too dumb to realize what was going on and kept shooting attacks, not realizing that they weren't even touching him. It wasn't until Gojo explained his technique that he actually stopped his efforts and, well, tried alternatives. For Sukuna, he of course sees that Gojo is unaffected and doesn't know 100% what he's going against, so he sends some slashes and watches as they literally never touch him. Because of this, Sukuna is caught lacking and Gojo goes on the offensive, throwing Sukuna around with telekinesis, and of course, Sukuna can counteract the efforts the exact same way he did originally, but this time, he's trying to see if there's any limitations to the force field. Obviously there's not, but he keeps on shooting down buildings to fall on Gojo, strategically sending slashes at times where he thinks he might be off guard, but they all can't seem to get through to the sorcerer in front of him, and Gojo takes advantage of that. I don't think you guys should underestimate the beast Gojo would put on Sukuna.
Like, dude, bro, listen, bro, all you Sukuna fans, bro, listen, Gojo was tearing him up, bro. He was beating him the fuck up, bro. He was tearing him up, and you can't even make no excuse about it. You can't, bro. Ever since Gojo, like, you know, he got caught off guard with a wood-cutting slash, people downplayed this man, but people forgot of what Gojo did to him. Like, literally, the only reason why, like, his students were able to beat Sukuna is because Gojo damaged him enough for him to be weakened that whole fight. That, like, come on now, bro. That's my GOAT. Come on now.
Especially considering the fact that he does not have domain amplification. Sukuna is cooked if he continues fighting like
Step into Wix Studio and handle
bro.
every part of your build from one platform.
Yeah, I don't care. I don't care about the ad, bro.
Sukuna is taking damage and more than he needs.
Bro, like I said, bro, like, and people said, well, Heian era Sukuna is like, physically strong. More arms doesn't make you like more stronger, bro. It doesn't make you like more physically stronger. It literally, his extra arms, it was legit stated for, it was made for sorcery. It never said it would never said like close hand-to-hand combat. It just said sorcery. That's literally why he had the mouth. He had the extra arms. It was literally to make him the perfect body for sorcery. That's literally it. Like, come on now, bro.
As he could easily just stop testing the waters and use what he knows will actually be effective. So he does it.
And like, am I saying like his arms are like not, like, would they not help in close combat? No, they definitely would, but it wouldn't make him like more powerful. Like, no. Like, you got to understand that Sukuna's from a different era than Gojo. Gojo's from, you know, the main era, like the main, the present, obviously. And like, there's more, like, you know, Gojo is legit just a prodigy. He knows how to fight, bro. Like, people be forgetting he knows how to fight.
Realizes as well, and immediately retaliates. The two strongest sorcerers clash domains, but this time Sukuna doesn't know anything about Gojo's sure hit, and Gojo doesn't know about Sukuna's open barrier. These two are almost complete strangers. Sukuna also does not know to hold back because he doesn't know there's a whole platoon of other sorcerers coming in to beat his ass. Evenly matched, they form a pair within Gojo's barrier.
Like, and I'm so glad, Gambler, that you put this in like the video. I'm so glad you put this, is because people, what I'm going to say, it's probably going to make a lot of Sukuna fans mad, but people need to realize just because Sukuna beat Gojo doesn't mean he like literally like no diffed him, and doesn't mean he was holding back, right? The only reason that he was not wanting to use a lot of his curse energy is because he knew he had to fight the other sorcerers, but like still he used most of it. Sukuna used most of his techniques against Gojo. Most of his techniques. He couldn't use Fuga because it wouldn't do shit. People don't understand that. Even though Sukuna was trying not to use most of his techniques, Gojo was beating the brakes off of him, and he was making him use it. Like, come on now, bro. Come on.
The two sure hit guarantees overlap and cancel each other out. A battle with both sides expanding their domains. Evenly matched. Within the barrier,
I do love when they did domain clashes in the JJK manga, because even though it was repetitive, you didn't know what the outcome was, like ever. You wouldn't know what the outcome would be. It was so good.
Sukuna's domain expansion is an open barrier domain, however, and its effective range reaches a staggering 200-meter radius. In the original story, Sukuna's domain expansion was hit with a binding vow to set its effective range way smaller than the 200 meters he's capable of. Because of this, Gojo had the opportunity to try and escape the effective range, but this only made it worse for Sukuna because from then, he had to stop Gojo from escaping. This led to Sukuna never having the ability to actually use Fuga, because despite what other people may try and make you believe, the actual reason he didn't use it the first time was because he wasn't given the opportunity to. By the time Fuga was fully charged, Gojo would have been escaped the domain range since it was so small.
Legit, bro. And also, like, when you do a domain, when you pop your domain, you're unable to use your innate technique for a certain amount of time, right? So you're legit unable, because it's one of the Jujutsu rules, like legit.
Well, I say this because we literally see Sukuna use Fuga against Mahoraga despite setting the effective range to 140 meters. It's literally all up to the charge time. With that being said, Sukuna's domain would eventually break Gojo's, and now Gojo enters burnout. He watches as Gojo somehow is able to survive the onslaught and switches. Cause
he's my GOAT. Like, what? Like, oh, and another thing I do want to mention, bro. Gojo tanked Shrine. Gojo tanked Malevolent Shrine. And people keep forgetting, like, that is huge, because there's not a lot. I don't think there's anybody else in the verse that can do that other than Gojo, because that's how strong he is.
All his cursed tools to his left hands. With his left hand, he shoots Kamotoki in an attempt to gauge what's going on with Gojo, but he dodges it. Gojo realizes that there must be an escape route since it's an open domain, so he starts to attempt to run away, but suddenly the slashes stop and Gojo heals up fully. He turns around to talk crap about the guy, but suddenly a fire arrow that he's been charging up with his right hands is sent straight at him while completely off guard.
Yeah.
Gojo obviously dodges it, but the fire doesn't need to hit him specifically. The fact that it's in the air is enough, and it explodes. Gojo is now in the middle of an onslaught of thermobaric explosives that are heated up by the furnace. And Sukuna,
like literally Sukuna, when he popped that shit, and people like when it first like was displayed in the manga, it was like, and people said, oh, it's not that big. It was actually like pretty convenient. It was actually pretty huge because I'm pretty sure that when he did it, it was like he was using a binding vow. I'm pretty sure.
Sukuna doesn't let him off that easily either. He shoots Kamotoki and whatever the heck Hiten is, and even comes up close to stop him from moving anywhere.
Buy the Old Spice NFL collection.
Bro.
Buy the Old Spice NFL collection.
No, like this. Old Spice NFL.
Or else. Maybe Gojo can sneak in a simple domain as a last-ditch effort to stop what's going on, but it doesn't do anything. Furnace technically isn't the sure hit of the domain, but that's not even the reason simple domain doesn't stop it. What furnace actually is using the matter formed by being hit with the domain's sure hit and heating it up to explode. If you're hit with the cleave onslaught, you earn the new transformed matter, and all Sukuna had to do was send the arrow for it to explode on you. Gojo, despite using Sybil domain, is still exposed to the heat and therefore will keep being exposed to the explosions.
Yeah.
I mean, it's kind of implied that's the case, as Gege chose to mention that the furnace remained cooled rather than just saying the transformation never happened. It definitely did, but there was no heat to create the explosions because Gojo never allowed the freedom to let it off. So if there's heat now, explosions going off on Gojo's literal body and the area around him, a 4-armed freakazoid in front of him keeping him at bay, 2 cursed 2s being shot at him, and whatever the hell is going on, what is Gojo supposed to do? This is literally just a matter of him not knowing what would have happened going against an open domain expansion. Heck, he didn't even know it was open. It's not his fault to be honest, but he does lose here. However, I can sense the anger already, so let me just explain it one more time.
Bro, like, oh my gosh, bro, he does not lose, bro. Oh my gosh. Oh my goodness, bro.
Clear and concise. Sukuna didn't use Fuga against Gojo the first time because the domain range was so narrow. Gojo would have escaped by the time Sukuna charged up the flames. We see Sukuna literally have to box with Gojo because he instantly tried running, and for reference, look at how small the domain is and Gojo couldn't even get near the edge. Now consider the fact that the domain is like 10 times bigger. Sukuna has 2 other arms he could literally fight with if push comes to shove. 2 cursed 2s that could do something to halt Gojo from leaving, and I don't see an understandable scenario where Gojo doesn't just lose right there and then. The only possible solution to this, which is unlikely because of the other things Sukuna has, is of course very plainly Gojo running 200 meters away before Sukuna can shoot the arrow. It's not impossible because it's Gojo Satoru we're talking about here, but like I said, it's super unlikely. Look at what 140 meters looks like, by the way. 200 meters, hand-to-hand combat, heat 10 and Kamutoke, and explosives that cannot be stopped. The final thing I want to add is that Sukuna assumed just closing his domain would be the death of Gojo. Mind you, this is considering the fact that Gojo can infinitely heal, use Sybil domain, and he even still has his curse technique. Now, what would be the difference between that domain and what already happened in chapter 226? A Fuga that Gojo cannot escape. Sukuna is now in burnout as Kashimo jumps down from the sky and Yorame is halted by Hikari. Sukuna shoots Kamutoke straight at Kashimo and Kashimo just brushes it off like the original story. Kashimo asks him about what it means to be the strongest and the pursuit of fulfillment.
Man, I ain't trying to hear this, bro. Oh my, well, but bro, Kashimo's Kashimo's actually a pretty cool character. Let me not trash talk him. He's a pretty cool character. Let me not.
Sukuna offers to teach him as Kashimo runs up to catch some smoke. He instantly gets negative diffed in base, so he goes into his curse technique and catches Sukuna by surprise. It's like an instant pace shift, so assuming Sukuna doesn't automatically perception blitz and kill Kashimo, which we all know he's not doing, Kashimo can probably get like a hit or 2 in before Sukuna adjusts to his speed. Obviously, after that initial pace increase, Sukuna would do Kashimo exactly like he did originally, but this time he's gotta literally punch and kick him to death because he's still on burnout. He can easily do that. Kashimo's durability literally isn't anything crazy. Sukuna hadn't lost any output going against Gojo as well, so I think he could genuinely choso him. He teaches him about the pursuit of self-fulfillment inside of his innate domain, and as soon as the fight is finished, Sukuna regains his curse technique and watches as Yuji and Higuruma drop down from the sky. Sukuna senses something reminiscent of himself.
Bro, why are we glazing Sukuna? He's not even that strong.
From Yuji, so he doesn't just automatically snipe them with Kamutoke. He wants to see what's going on with them.
Like, what I will say about like the original fight, because when you mentioned the 200 meters, I feel like Gojo could pull that off. But like, there's other circumstances. I feel like Gojo could pull off like a 1%, I think it was like a 1% domain or what it was called, that he did in the train station. I feel like if he did that, or whatever, or when they had the domain clash, when he mentioned the domain clash, when Sukuna had to open the barrier domain, I feel like even if that is the case, I feel like if Gojo literally popped his domain and it still hit Sukuna, even Sukuna has the open barrier domain, it would not matter. You know, because he's hit. It wouldn't matter because he's hit. But that's just my take on it. No, like, yes, I'm a little salty, but, like, I'm just saying, like, because he's saying possibilities. I'm saying that as a possibility, you know? But W video.
Sukuna lets them get their attacks off, but a huge difference is made here. Yuji's attacks aren't actively nerfing Sukuna. Sukuna is not an incarnated sorcerer, so Yuji has no soul barrier to sense or attack. He's also not out here just doing soul damage by default. I know I've said some BS about Yuji doing that, but months later, I think it's pretty clear that it's an ability exclusively effective on Mahito. If this wasn't the case, Sukuna would be using it on everyone. Gojo would be using it on literally anyone would be using it, but they don't, because I guess that's just not how it works. So after their initial sequence, Higuruma pops his domain expansion and traps Sukuna as the defendant. Sukuna is charged with murdering entire platoons of sorcerers during the Heian era and is given the death penalty along with confiscation. But as Sukuna drops out of the domain, Hiten is gone and Kabutoke is still in Sukuna's hand.
Right now at US Cellular, you can get 4 free phones plus 4 lines for $90.
Hey, we're tired of having...
Man, I've been waiting for this part because Hiten is literally a complete mystery. I was just talking. Higuruma didn't confiscate Sukuna's curse technique like intended. All he did was take away Hiten, and as Choso, Ino, and Kusakabe dropped down, Sukuna sent some slashes at Higuruma. These slashes are much more powerful because Sukuna hasn't experienced any lower in output as opposed to the original story. Kusakabe is insanely injured despite having Sybil domain up, but Higuruma being behind him saves himself a quick trip to the gulag. Sukuna analyzes the situation. He's incredibly interested in the Executioner Blade, but the other sorcerers have some interesting techniques he wants to find out about as well. So he prioritizes the most fulfilling dish, Higuruma. Sukuna blisses everyone around him and grabs Higuruma by his face, running away with him like he did in the original story. Sukuna doesn't know about the sorcerer's boost in stats because he doesn't know any of them, so he's not going to entertain a race or anything of the sort. Enjoyment comes first. With Higuruma by himself, he toys with him, dodging his efforts to stab him and sending weak.
I'm not gonna lie, Higuruma was like, he was doing his best. I'm not gonna lie. Higuruma, especially he was still new to sorcery, he did pretty good. I'm not gonna lie.
Slashes at him. Sadly, in this timeline, there was no way for Higuruma to learn domain amplification because no one uses it in front of him, but also no one even talked about it until Sukuna vs Gojo in the original story. However, Higuruma did see reverse curse technique from Gojo, and so he learns it on the spot, and Sukuna is even more intrigued. Sukuna cuts an entire leg from him to see if he can go as far as to heal entire limbs, and he does, so Sukuna acknowledges him, but then he just kills him. Right as he dies, Yuji and the others come back, and Yuji sends a piercing blow at Sukuna, to which he blocks with minimal effort. He shoots Kamotoke at Yuji and the others who are with him, and Yuji is basically the only one who can recover quick enough to engage in battle with Sukuna. Right now, it's a countdown to Yuta coming back from his mission of killing Kenjaku. Kusakabe is out of the picture because of those slashes from earlier, so Wiwi sent him back. But right now, it's Yuji who's trying to fight Sukuna, Chosu has reverse cursing knee so he can recover, and then, probably just got cooked by the attack, to be honest. Remember that Sukuna can sense something from Yuji, so I think the fact that he can would allow Yuji to not get slaughtered automatically. I don't know what beef Sukuna had with current Yuji, maybe it's because he actually knows him, but this time Sukuna literally knows nothing about him except the fact that he's reminiscent of himself. Sukuna has also never gone against or seen blood manipulation, so he wouldn't just Choso right away. You gotta remember that Sukuna experienced an entire fight with Choso in the original story. He called him completely inferior. He was never interested in him. With that being said, Sukuna would also test the limits of both the brothers' reverse curse techniques, seeing as theirs isn't as simple as just healing. They're able to use blood manipulation to boost the effectiveness. As Sukuna toys with them, the floor starts lifting and out comes the cursed child, Yuta Kotsu. Yuta looks around to understand the situation.
Yuta.
Kusakabe,
Dude,
Yuta
and Yuji versus Sukuna was so damn peak, chat. Like, I don't care. Like, Yuta was on that timing. They had a perfect plan too, but they just had like bad luck with Megumi, sadly. But I hope he brings this up because their plan was perfect. But it was just Megumi that messed it up. So I wonder how he's gonna play this scenario out.
And Higuruma aren't there, and it's only Yuji and Choso, so he doesn't waste a single second. He expands his domain. This time, unlike against Gojo, Sukuna isn't the one who expands the domain, and in his very dangerous pursuit of enjoyment, Sukuna doesn't retaliate. Instead, he activates Hollow Wicker Basket. Their sure hit of the domain is Cleave instead of Jacob's Ladder because there isn't really a reason to rely on such a technique. Bored of Choso, Sukuna blasts him with Kamutoke and finishes the deal with the Cleave to the face before anyone could react. It's Yuji, Yuta, and Rika he's facing now. Yuta has all the same techniques he had originally, but instead of one of the swords having Cleave, one of them has Jacob's Ladder, and it allows him to cancel out any slashes Sukuna decides to use against him, of course given that he gets the sword. Yuji again isn't playing the same role he did originally, he's becoming an absolute liability. He watches as Yuta gets toyed with and locks in, running towards Sukuna as Yuta uses Don't Move, and
Why are we getting ads, bro? It's getting so good.
Yuji hits one. After hitting his first Black Flash, Yuji awakened on the spot, unlocking Shrine for the first time and completely intriguing Sukuna. Yuta's cool and all, but he's got a mini him in front of him, so he blisters and cleaves Yuta's torso clean off, like Yuta said would happen if Sukuna was at full power, which he is, and the domain expansion is about to break. Sukuna didn't finish the job though, not really caring if Yuta survives or not because he's got better things to worry about. The domain officially breaks, but instead of Yuji being the main focus, a sword stabs straight into Sukuna's back and through his soul. I know it's said that Sukuna could have dodged it under normal circumstances, but this is different. Again, that boy doesn't know any of these sorcerers, and sure as heck doesn't know someone with absolutely no curse energy that he cannot sense is on their side. Sukuna steps away and heals the wound, but notices that there's something wrong with it. He's not fully healed despite his outer wound being healed. He doesn't feel to be at his fullest power. Quick note on this, I assume reverse curse technique can work on the actual limbs, but the soul is still damaged. I mean, against Naoya literally just heals up, and Mahito basically does the exact same thing. But honestly, that's a topic I really don't want to get into, so y'all can let me know your thoughts in the comments. Sukuna almost climaxes at the sight of this. He's got a mini him who has multiple curse techniques and he doesn't even know why this guy exists, and then a sorcerer with zero curse energy that has a sword he can't even comprehend. But who does he want to get his entertainment from first? He blisters and cleaves Yuji's stomach, sending slashes at him to take him out of the fight temporarily. If he's actually worth his time, he'd be able to recover quickly. He then has his little 1v1 with Maki where it goes basically the exact same as it did originally, but this time there are no interferences. There's no Ino, no Kusakabe, it's him and the monster in front of him. He feels exhilaration. For the first time throughout his boring life, he felt he had to prove something. Sorcery versus the body, the peak of Jujutsu versus the peak of physical prowess. Who will come out on top? Sukuna gets active, he's excited and hits a Black Flash. Maki is temporarily out of the fight, and by now Yuji has returned after healing from his injuries. They face off, holding their stances and going blow for blow. Each blow is a Black Flash, but Sukuna isn't going all out as to extract every ounce of enjoyment from the battle. Eventually though, Yuji can't keep up anymore. Despite Sukuna holding back, he can't really continue taking the attacks. Sukuna is about to deliver the final Black Flash, cocking his fist back, but suddenly Yuji disappears. Miguel and LaRue have entered the battle and saved Yuji from sudden death. They put him down for Wiwi to go and send him back, and Miguel, despite not even wanting to be there, engages in battle. Sukuna gets hit with LaRue's hand curse technique, but he enters hand-to-hand combat with Miguel directly and is intrigued by the effects of his curse technique. They box for relativity. Sukuna isn't taking.
Bro, Miguel was actually nasty in this part of the chapter. He was so nasty, bro. He was cooking Sukuna.
The fight as seriously as him, but by the time Sukuna's almost done giving the beast to Miguel, Maki comes back and slices an arm off of Sukuna. After receiving yet another hit to his soul, something Sukuna doesn't even know is happening and can't reverse, Sukuna doesn't want to run the risk of taking more, so as he's about to engage with Maki, LaRue stops him in his tracks. Maki slices two of Sukuna's arms this time, and at this point, Sukuna isn't playing around anymore. He jumps back, then forward towards Maki, blissing her and kicking the crap out of her. Then he blisses towards LaRue and hits him with a Black Flash, then blisses towards Miguel and hits him with one. They've pissed him off with their annoying tactics. He regenerates both of his hands and expands the domain expansion at full strength and range, capturing all 3 of the sorcerers. He kills them and thinks he's won. He thinks about where Urami is, but then he's annoyed to find out that his gauntlet hasn't finished just yet. Minutes later, Todo emerges from out of nowhere alongside Yuji, who's healed back up to full strength, and so is Sukuna in Burnout versus Todo and Yuji. The first thing Todo does is pick up a rock, throw it in the air with cursed energy, and swap Kamutoke with it. Now Sukuna really has to fight these boys with straight hands, as Todo swaps out a crow with Kamutoke from meters away. Todo puts Yuji and Sukuna into the swap roulette as Yuji adjusts to Todo's timing, but Sukuna is completely confused about what the heck is going on. Yuji at this point focuses on black flashes as he really doesn't have the AP regularly to do lasting damage to this hulk of a sorcerer. With Todo's help, Yuji lands multiple hits, all black flashes, and even while Sukuna's attempting to adjust to the technique, he just can't, and he admits he can't because of how crazy Todo is using it. Finally, Sukuna recovers his curse technique for the 3rd time.
Bro, he better not end it with him winning, bro. I swear I'm gonna end the video.
Tired of the games being played on him, he plans to finish the deal once and for all. Domain expand. Sukuna was stopped in his tracks. No, this can't be. He knows he killed that sorcerer before. He looks at him. Yuta is in Higuruma's body. Dog, there is no recovering Gojo's body. The point of Furnace is to reduce everyone within the domain to ash. If it's effective against Gojo, they have nothing of him left.
Yeah, there's not gonna be nothing of him left. Gojo still wins, I don't care.
But they do have Higuruma, a character who said he'd give his life up for the mission, and to be honest, his plan was basically one of the greatest to get it done. So Yuta took over his body, and well, here we are. Higuruma Yuta expands his domain, but Sukuna does as well. Higuruma's domain is pretty good at clashing, so all he has to do is find Sukuna guilty before the domain breaks from Sukuna's slashes. Quickly, they have to do it quickly. I killed all these sorcerers today and feel nothing of it. Todo, Yuji, and Yuta are all confused, but they feel a glimmer of hope. Sukuna just admitted he's guilty. Surely he's about to get his cursed technique confiscated and they're going to get the executioner blade. This is it. This is the final chance.
Oh my gosh,
wrong.
He's saying some bullshit. Oh my gosh.
The reason Sukuna didn't instantly win the tug of war is because Sukuna turned the sure hit off from inside the domain as to give them a false sense of safety. The entire time, Sukuna's just been working away the outside of it to break it, and as soon as he's about to get his curse technique taken, the domain breaks. He starts laughing in their faces as they all use simple domain to delay the inevitable. He slowly closes the domain to up the output, closing it more and more narrow. But suddenly, Sukuna's slashes stop and his shrine disappears. Because Sukuna narrowed down the domain, in the air is a woman flying. She has a force field that completely turned off Sukuna's curse technique. It's Angel with Jacob's ladder, and she shoots it at Sukuna at max output. Sukuna punches the ground to create a way to get up and climb the ladder. All he has to do is finish this pain off, and then he'll finish the others off. He's on his way and about to hit a black flash, but Todo switches with Hana at the last second and takes the black flash himself, breaking the Vibra Slap and taking him out of the battle. This is the last ditch effort of everyone else, a brawl with no certain way to finish Sukuna off. But the thought of that reality doesn't serve them, so they don't entertain it. Sukuna versus Angel, Yuji, and Yuta in Higuruma's body. Sukuna blitzes and hits Hana with a black flash. That's one. Sukuna disappears from the side of Yuji and Yuta and ends up behind Yuta.
Oh my gosh, he's going to do it, isn't he?
Throwing it at Yuji and trying to kick the bull.
I can't go through this anymore. I can't do it. Oh my gosh, bro. I can't do this, bro. Oh, don't say it, bro. Don't say he wins, bro.
That's two. Only Yuji's left to give his final efforts. Sukuna is still in burnout from Hana turning his domain off, so Yuji has to try his best. Domain expansion. Yuji uses his new ability for the first time and skips the chit chat. Again, Yuji knows nothing about that boy and just needs to get him out of here. So Sukuna uses Hollow Worker Basket, eliminating two of his hands, and they face off. It's a Black Flash masterclass. The two hit each other with Black Flash after Black Flash after Black Flash. The condition of Yuji worsens by the second. Despite having a boost from his domain, he really can't do much to this absolute monster. And so, with no one else to interrupt him this time, he hits Yuji with the final and most powerful Black Flash,
where's Megami? Where's Megami and Ibarra?
Destroying the domain with the damage dealt to him, and the fight ends. Sukuna recovers his curse technique once again and expands it over Yuji, Yuta, Todo, and Hana, slicing the sorcerers to bits and sending the fire arrow to make sure they never come back. A complete victory for the King of Curses. That is until Hikari pulls up, but I want Sukuna to win, so I'm going to completely skip past that. Anyways,
you want Sukuna to win? Okay, this video is completely invalid then. I don't care.
What do y'all think of this video? Honestly, probably my favorite one I've made in the past like 2 to 3 months.
I know it is.
Let me know you guys' thoughts in the comments.
Okay. Alright, we're gonna end the video there. Yo, W video, it was great. It was a great commentary, great explanation. My day is ruined. The person that requested this, I appreciate you. Yeah, I think I'm gonna take a break from JJK for a while. This broke my spirit. This really broke it. I'm not gonna lie. But yeah, without further ado, make sure you guys like, comment, subscribe, share the video with your friends. And I don't care. Gojo wins. I'll see y'all boys later. Bye.